If you want to live a long life, move to Hong Kong, where they have the highest life expectancy in the world. It's 85 years for men, 88 for women. In the UK, a man can expect to live till he's 79 and women 83 years of age. One man, however, believes that with advances in science and medicine, we could all be living to 150. He's Dr. Edouard Debonneuil, COO of the London Longevity Clinic. I asked him about the issues of ageing well and whether he really thinks it is possible to live forever.
Yes, or we hope so. In fact, 25 years ago, when I started to be interested in the field, I was one of the few believers that it will happen one day. And when we are many to believe, it becomes a reality. And over the last 25 years, we have been able to make little animals live longer than biohackers, people who have tried on themselves. And now that's what we do in our longevity clinic and other longevity clinics in the world. So it's a big new change. It's not immortality, it's living longer, healthier, and hopefully happier, but significantly much more than what we could do so far.
It's really about health span, isn't it? It's not about living longer just for the sake of it. It's living longer with a better quality of life, being able to do more, being more mobile, being more, having more cognitive function, living well till right up until the last possible moment.
Yes, and I would even say it's both, because it has always been a bit strange to say, I want to live long, but it's first about health, and as a consequence, also living longer.
So what are the main ways that we can achieve this? So I think most people know that, a diet is important, exercise is important. If you were to say that the top few things that people can adjust in their lifestyle to live longer and better, what would they be?
Yes, so there is the traditional pillars. So as you just mentioned, physical activity is probably the number one medicine. And it should be the number one medicine compared to a sickness approach that we usually have. Sleep, as you just said, nutrition, obviously, mindfulness, being happy. So these are the standard pillars. Now we have new ones. It starts from drugs that were able to make animals live longer. One day it will be gene therapies. And there are a whole number of biohacking techniques. So techniques that are maybe a bit strange first, that were showed to have profound effects on our health.
Now, your background is you're an engineer, you're a biologist, a data analyst in a way, and a data scientist. So it's becoming very scientific now. It's not just a question of this is your DNA that you've inherited and this is your lifestyle. You have got science that shows how DNA can be adjusted in all sorts of ways. You talk about DNA methylation. Can you explain that for me?
Yes. So in 2002, I was a researcher at UCLA, and I did the first analysis of how we age internally, like the white hair, for example, or the hair that grows out of our ears, but from the inside, from the way the genes are expressed. And so the genes, they are expressed differently as we age. And there is a sort of rust that accumulates around our DNA. So this is an image, the rust. In fact, there are different methylation patterns, so different molecule changes around the DNA. And as a result, our cells, they tend to lose a bit the notion of who they are, what they are made for, and our body is a bit less efficient. It's a bit more complex than that, but in a nutshell, this is what is happening.
When your clients come to your clinic, what are they looking for most? Do they want to look younger? Do they want to be more physically energetic? What are they looking for by and large?
So in fact, a lot of people come for exactly the reasons you have mentioned. So that's why we have developed some beauty and aesthetics. We have a lot of sports machines, physical trainers, yoga sessions. Some really also come for longevity per se. They want to really be young and to remain young, or at least super healthy. And they will be looking for what I was talking about, drugs and things like that, for their metabolism to be adjusted, for them to remain in good health. So we have a combination. Our goal is to listen to everyone and to try to match their needs, and also to inform them, because there are big changes now for health that are happening, and we are on, I think, the verge of a revolution on how we are going to approach health.
Now, at the risk of sounding a bit provocative, what would you say if I asked you, the people that you're seeing, are they just vain? Are they wealthy? Do they want to live forever because they're happy in their life, and they just believe that by doing something simple, they can have it all? Is there a clientele that you would put into a category, if you like?
So I would say life is beautiful. So I think they are right to want to enjoy life as much as possible. And your health is not a destiny. You can take your health into your hands. So some are coming for being beautiful. Why not? That's nice. You want to be happy in life. Some want to be super strong. Some want to have a great immune system. Some just want to take care of themselves without more insights. I don't think anything is wrong in that.
Sure. Well, I mean, as a doctor, I'm a great believer in people taking care of themselves. Other people might say, well, getting older is inevitable. It's mandatory, but it's optional as to how well you live and how what a quality of life you have as the years go by. I think that's what all doctors would probably say. There's also the issue of cryonics that people talk about. In America, they are using vitrification when someone's passed away from a disease which they hope one day in the future might be curable. So they're freezing people's bodies in the hope that they can be stored and brought back to life and treated in the future. I mean, for many people, that's a step too far. That's a bit Frankenstein-like. But, you don't go down that route, and you don't go that far.
Well, we don't organize that at the clinic, but we could if some want. I'm trying to be very open. One day these things may exist. It's just like saying that life outside Earth doesn't exist. In 10 years ago, we couldn't say the contrary. Now people start to say, of course, there are so many planets. So one day it may happen. For now, it only works for very small animals. So it's very far from being in practice something solid for us. But maybe one day, we don't know. Okay,
so suppose we could regenerate coronary arteries in people who've got heart disease. Suppose we could give people who've gone grey back their black hair and their full head of hair and stop hair growing from their ears. Wouldn't we have a population explosion that's even more pronounced than it is today?
Maybe, but not in the next maybe 500 years, because in fact it takes a very long time if you want to make people live longer for population to grow. The reason is that let's say we know we are going to live for maybe 400 years. Probably you don't want to make children so early, right? You want to enjoy life as much as possible before. And then maybe you have one, just like it's what is happening now, right? You don't have 10 children. It used to be common in the past. So you have a strong adaptation. And this has been observed in animal species and in populations. And in fact, there are some mathematical observations of these behaviors, and they are very strong. And so if you live longer, you don't really increase the size of the population that much, because people want to enjoy life somehow. And having children is great, but when you are going to live long, you put a bit more energy on yourself.
So it's not just about the genes that you inherit and the environment in which you exist. You're saying it's much more than that. And one day we might be able to personalize medication and change gene expression at a molecular level to make a real influence on people's longevity.
Yes, I don't think it is that complex or that technological. Let's take, for example, physical activity. You said, suppose that one day we can repair coronary arteries, blah, blah, blah. Well, today, if you do physical activity, if you eat well, you are going to be able to do a lot of repair that most people do not know how to do because maybe they are themselves and they need a bit of help, or because they need a bit more information on how to do things. So just this is a bit of a standard approach. And today we have like ingredients to make a great recipe. And some ingredients work better than others. So like, for example, some people want to also lose weight. And for some, it will be easy with a bit of physical activity. For others, it will require more physical activity and perhaps some hormonal adjustments because of their internal status, I would say. So the ingredients exist, and they are not necessarily that personalized. So I think it's a current trend to like a personalized medicine. I think what we want to do is to personalize a combination of ingredients for the person. Because maybe some persons are happy to do a lot of physical activity, others are less, and also because different persons have different needs due to their body and their mind.
How accurately can you predict from somebody's questionnaire what their biological age is likely to be? How clear an idea can you get from just a simple survey of somebody answering questions as to how their biological age compares to their chronological age?
So probably we are 3 to 5 years precise. In fact, I have developed some models based on hundreds of thousands of persons to try to correlate your health measures and questionnaires with your later mortality levels, which we can express as an age. So we could call it not a mortality level, but a life level. And so when you do that, just with very basic physical markers, just like what is your hand grip force, or how strong can you blow, or things like that, you are able to estimate the health of someone pretty precisely. These are known markers, and when you put them together using a bit of data analysis, you are able to be very precise, maybe by 3 years in terms of age, biological age.
So as Chief Operating Executive of the London Longevity Clinic, in your lifetime, how long would you like to live yourself? What do you think is realistic?
So I think that is what is probably realistic with the current techniques is that if I spend a lot of energy on it, and I'm starting to, I may live to 150. I don't think this is crazy. The reason why I immediately say it is because for a lot of people, it sounds crazy because we have some numbers in mind, like 120 is about the maximum. But you have the same numbers in mind for mice or rats that live to 3 years, and that yet we can make live over 4 years. So I don't see why, and it seems to be that what we are applying in people is doing the same as for them. So I don't see why it wouldn't be the case.